Blockchain Show is a podcast that demystifies cryptocurrencies and distributed ledger technology.
Hello and welcome back. You're listening to The Blockchain Show. This is episode 187. I'm your host, Ethan Kinderconnect, and today I'm joined by Michael Beches from VAIOT. Michael, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you here. This is something that we've not really talked about before. Maybe before we get into the company, you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, when blockchain came on your radar, and then we can get into VAIOT.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Michael. I've been living in Vienna, Austria for about 20 years now. And before that, I grew up in Eastern Europe, in Romania to be precise, because that is the place of my origin. And the first time I was confronted with the topic of blockchain was back in 2016. And at that time, I was studying business law in Vienna, and a colleague who later also became my business partner. So shout out to Daniel Lenikos if you're hearing this right now. He just wouldn't stop annoying me with blockchain until I finally dealt with the topic myself. So when I finally did, it was actually love at the first sight, of course. But short after I was introduced to the blockchain space, we started organizing weekly community meetups in Vienna. And they are called Block and Wine and are completely free and accessible for anybody. And I'm saying are because they are still exist today, just unfortunately not that frequent anymore due to Corona. But the idea behind it was to first and foremost connect with other like-minded people and to gain an additional source of information than just the digital media, of which I've always been a fan of. And these meetups in Vienna quickly gained popularity. And after some time, the idea of organizing a blockchain event on a much bigger scale was born. So as a result, I co-founded a company named Block Expo in 2018, which was mainly created for the sake of compliance for the big event we were planning at that time. And in April 2019, our first big conference called the VAIOT Summit took place in Vienna, which still is one of the biggest blockchain conferences in Europe to date, with over 2,000 participants from 50 nations. So that's my little journey so far into the blockchain space. Our last edition for VAIOT was in April 2020, but due to Corona, was of course organized as a hybrid event, meaning still we broadcasted it live from the venue, but we booked a moderator also live from Vienna, but most of the things were held online, of course. So that was my story. And basically from the moment I founded the company, I was always very interested in how to make it grow in the most efficient way and as fast as possible. So as a result, I became head of growth and spent the last few years focusing on growth marketing and continuing my education in this field specifically. And now I have gained a lot of experience, especially in this industry, which we all know sometimes ticks a little different than many others, that I'm now at the point where I just want to share my knowledge with other promising companies and want to help to grow as well. And VAIOT, the company I work with now, is definitely one of those companies.
Yeah, that's excellent. Probably one of the best times to introduce this to people with everything that's changing in the world right now. I'm glad that the summit was still a success, and I really wish that I could make it to Austria one of these days. But for now, this is great to be able to talk to you. I know that you're working to optimize business processes, drive personal growth through digitization tools. How does AI and blockchain work together? Because those are sometimes terms that people hear, but they're not really sure how exactly they interface with each other. But what's kind of the unique angle here?
Definitely. So of course, they've been used just as buzzwords a lot of times, but In the case of VAIOT, the company I work with now, we are combining AI and blockchain to develop intelligent virtual assistants. And I think most people already know what that is, but I think the best explanation would be something like Siri or Alexa. But what differentiates us from Siri or Alexa is actually that VAIOT is strictly business oriented. So it is created to digitize business processes. And this is why we are using AI and blockchain.
A lot of people are familiar with Siri and Alexa, and when it works, it's great. But in my experience, a lot of times it doesn't always work. And I know that Apple was using, it's kind of like a virtual assistant for a while on their Apple Care. But last time I called them, I was talking to a person right away. I thought that was kind of interesting. But that's something that's always going to grow and change, but we don't really see something that's focused on business. So I think this is a pretty good use case for blockchain and AI. Certainly other companies that I use that have some sort of virtual assistant, but it's just really not good, and I end up not using it. So what's some of the challenges that you guys have faced with developing this and implementing it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's still a long way till all these assistants are fully developed and used in our everyday life. That's clear. But currently, we are in the closed beta testing phase. So with our AI sales assistant, so if you want to check it out, you can go into our website on VAIOT.ai, and for our proof of concept, we actually work together with IBM. So that really laid the groundwork for our future plans and also gave us the confidence that we are going into the right direction.
I've seen a little bit of blockchain development through some papers I was reading over the years, but it's always a little bit mysterious to me. But it's good to know that there is some development going on there. Something that really impressed me was that you guys were able to secure about, 5 million euros through a private sale of your, is it VAI tokens?
Yeah, not for now, not for the tokens for now. So we had 2 sales for now. The one was 1.5 million back in 2019, and the other one was now 3.5. And I think most of the blockchain projects right now do struggle to get funding, but as VAIOT is having other path than most of the other blockchain projects that are now in the space, so really going to the traditional market and try to digitize other industries, we managed to secure a pretty decent amount of funding for now.
Yeah, that's great. It's kind of hard to get people excited about things that happen in the back end of a business. But, it's like if everything is working the way it should, then no one it's not on their mind. But when something is seamlessly working, like if they were to go and utilize an assistant like VAIOT, man, that's impressive. It leaves an impression of maybe they want to come back and use it again, or sometimes I'll just use tools just to see how they work. So I think that it's a really cool thing you guys are working on. You're also, it seems like you're gonna lower costs for businesses and by using automation and maybe even increase their revenue, so they can focus on other things like better marketing or focus on customer experience, because some people might be a little hesitant to embrace AI and automation, thinking it's going to take jobs away from people, especially right now with a lot of people around the world losing jobs. They might think, well, why do we need more automation? But I think that maybe it might be a good time to try to reframe how we go about business. Maybe people's talents are better devoted to certain aspects than to answering phone calls, and it's sometimes it's not very. I guess what I'm trying to get at is sometimes it's not very efficient just to go with these legacy systems.
Definitely. And if you look at the situation we're facing right now, I mean, the coronavirus pandemic has put a freeze on many in-person sales and transactions for goods and services. So companies already need to strive for new communication and sales channels and business models. So in a time where social distancing is key, we are offering, or VAIOT is offering, a solution to the broader public that is, as you said, simpler, more efficient, and just a cheaper way to execute daily operations.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that right now you're going through the beta testing and people can request access to join that. What's some of the interactions that you've, or maybe some feedback you've gotten so far from people, and kind of what's the response been?
I'm actually waiting for the feedback myself. I've tried it, of course, but it's still in constant development. So right now you just can request to be a part of the beta, and you will get access, I think, in the next week, and then the feedback will be collected. So maybe we will speak again soon, then I can tell you something more about it. From my personal experience, I've been very impressed what the team has done so far. But of course, we have to still wait for the feedback from the community.
Okay, yeah. VAIOT's serving businesses and also consumers. I see a lot of virtual legal assistant work being done and digital service distribution channels. But what's some of the more general use cases that you foresee customers interacting with VAIOT?
Yeah, so these are actually the two things we are working on for now and for the future. So first of all, as I said, we are offering right now a brand new communication channel for our customers. So this can be used for various different reasons. So as I said, for marketing, for sales. And second of all, and this is the company's future and ultimate goal, we are building this personal AI legal assistant providing legal services, including digital and blockchain-based contracts. So this is, of course, the goal that is combined with the most work, because you have these different legislations in the different countries, and you have to get a lot of data to be able to provide such things. But to come back to your question, as I said, these virtual assistants can be offered to various clients in different economic sectors. And what I mean by that is that whenever your company has a product or a service to be sold digitally, or you serve your customers digitally, you can use VAIOT's technology to have your own AI assistant delivered to your customers via mobile application. And this is also what is worth mentioning, is that for now we're just focusing on mobile application, because we've seen in the statistics that people, they do not want to wait. They want things immediately. They want things now to happen. That's why we are just focusing on mobile application and to make the AI assistant available over there for now.
I'd like to take a quick break to let you know about a previous episode sponsored by Envision. In episode 185 of the Blockchain Show, Daryl and Russell from Envision joined me for a look into waste tracking on the blockchain and how the Envision token is revolutionizing the way we deal with waste. We'll be talking about a really innovative use case for blockchain tech here with DeFi, renewable energy and tracking, tokenomics and distribution, and how they're bringing together people all across the world to help protect our planet and future. You can learn more at envisiontoken.com, NVZNTOKEN.com, and become part of their digital token campaign, where they are envisioning a simpler, cleaner, and better future. Or you can go to theblockchainshow.com and check out the show notes for episode 185. And now, back to the show. Earlier, you had mentioned IBM. I've heard a little bit about IBM Watson, and I'm curious if there's any link between VAIOT and IBM Watson, or is that kind of separate entities there?
Definitely. So, as I know, IBM created IBM Watson also for an AI assistant, and we used this technology for the proof of concept. So we combined basically the technology of Watson and with our own technology to create the proof of concept.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty impressive, actually. I didn't know I didn't know that was on the docket. So yeah, I really like the concept decentralizing how this technology is working in the background. It's highly mobile. A lot of people are on mobile devices these days. Moving forward, business is going to look a lot different, especially in light of the coronavirus impact that we're still, I don't know if we're recovering from, but we're kind of getting used to a new normal here. And I guess my question for you is, after this beta is released, do you think that the business sector is going to be different than what you guys had envisioned when you started the project? Or do you think that this kind of aligns with the way things are going?
For now, everything is aligned with our roadmap and everything is going to plan. So I'm assuming that also, I hope that the pandemic will be over soon or for the better. But for us, nothing has really changed. The development is going to plan. So yeah, everything stays the same for now.
Okay. So the next question is about the tokens, the VAIOT tokens. Is that something that people listening can get involved with now, or is that going to be in the near future?
That will be in the near future, because the last 2 months we were in the process of regulating our company in Malta, because I don't know if you know that, but Malta was the first country in Europe to with a clear regulatory framework for blockchain projects in 2018, which was also the year that our company was founded. And we always wanted to be fully transparent with our community and provided proof of us being legitimate. And so Malta was the way to go. But we are currently in the process of getting the VFA status, meaning the virtual financial asset status. And when that is being granted, I think we should get this announcement in next week or in the following week. We have to have a token sale in the upcoming 6 months. So people that are listening can look forward definitely to a token sale, but that will come up, and I'm assuming in the following 6 months or Q4 in 2020 even.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I remember hearing that about Malta, and I'm impressed that you guys are working with them to make it so transparent. That's one of my favorite aspects of blockchain is if someone really wanted to, they could audit everything and it's all there. In the United States, it's a little bit more complicated because there's a Security and Exchange Commission, and I know that some blockchain companies or cryptocurrency centered approaches have to go through different legal loopholes. Is it an asset or is it something that's traded publicly, and they have to have legal teams to make sure that they don't breach these laws that are old and don't even apply to the technology that's rapidly being developed. There's a lot that is slowing down progress here. So it's good to see that in other countries like Malta, they have their finger on the pulse, as they say.
If we get this license, we will be the very first to get it. So you can assume that this process is a very complicated one. So they demand a lot of things. But I think that's one of the things that really drove me to VAIOT in the first place, that they take this approach very seriously. And I mean, you will see it with other blockchain companies or exchanges like BitMEX. The thing is with blockchain companies and the industry in general, people think they have to develop things so fast and just create a company and start things, but they don't really look into the regulatory environment. And after a few years, we just saw what happened. So I think this is the way to go for the future. Blockchain companies have to just be prepared, like in the traditional sector as well. So that's what I really, really like.
Yeah. Well, I know you guys have a strong team there, and it seems like you're pretty solid in terms of the regulation. We already mentioned IBM, but do you have any other partners that you're working with to help develop this, or are you guys going at it on your own?
I mean, we have, of course, some partners. We are working now with a PR agency named Blonde. And also we are cooperating with the Block Expo. This is a part of my company as well, where we are helping with the business development on that part. but also the VAIOT company. The company behind VAIOT also is a company that has been here for some years. They developed some things themselves. They are called VAIORI. So they are all people that are working in the space for a long time, for some years now. So we are pretty strong on that side.
Oh, that's great. I think that you're in a pretty good position to see where this industry is heading in terms of trends. With your summit, what have you noticed this year? I mean, obviously, other than the obvious global pandemic, that we can put that aside for a minute, but this year has been called a lot the year of DeFi. Do you think that trend is going to continue, or do you think have you noticed maybe a new emerging trend based on your work with the work at the summit?
Yeah, of course. I mean, everybody talks about DeFi, and I think it's legit as well, because I really believe in DeFi, and I think it's more than just a short-term trend. I think it's really here to fundamentally innovate our financial system. But that being said, with DeFi, I think with almost every new hype, there is also an ugly opposite side to it. So we have seen this similar to the hype in 2017, with lots of projects popping out of nowhere, having funny names that are just correlated with some exotic foods like sushi, yam, and kimchi, and I don't know what. People fall into the trap of being too ignorant, and then the projects do rug pulls, or people just burn their fingers very easily. So people just have to do their own research, of course, and be very, very careful. But the other thing that I was really looking into this year personally now is the NFT space. I think it's really, really exciting. I got into this topic because one of our sponsors, actually the Austrian Postal Service, which is actually a very traditional company, but they wanted to take on a new approach, and they launched the first ever crypto stamp. I don't know if you heard about it.
No.
Yeah, it's very, very cool, and it can be saved digitally, of course, within the Ethereum blockchain that also guarantees you that you can continue to trade it. They had now 2 editions, which were both sold out, and they were very recognized internationally. So we're working with them together, and I found that really, really cool. So NFTs is also something that was very hyped this year, I would say, but also other digital collectibles such as art, wine, and gaming is here to stay, and will have a bright future, in my opinion. But when it comes to events in general, I think, so my personal opinion, because the online event we had now was with over 8,000 registrations from 120 countries, which was also pretty insane. But that was also at the very beginning from the pandemic. So people were really excited to have something new, a new channel that can communicate or connect and meet up. But I think people now are already getting not just bored, but they want the personal interaction again. Because in my opinion, I still prefer physical events. And I think the pandemic will be good for the event industry in the long run, because the last few years, the people already were too cheap to spend money for tickets on events, because today you can simply find most of the information you need on YouTube, or just search for it in Google. Or you might also find the right person to talk to in social media anyways. But now it has become clear again, in my opinion, what events are really all about. And this is the personal human interaction and the feeling of that you're associating with an event, a new city, and so on and so on. So this is something that just can't get across digitally.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. We have to be reminded of our humanity every once in a while. I think being in technology, sometimes we just spend a lot of time staring at screens, and it's especially now that we're all, at least in this country, locked down a lot and inside. I think we really do, like you said, we realize that we need those social interactions, and you never know who you're going to meet. It's always much more impactful when you're in the real world. And like you said, going to different cities and you meet the right person, a whole new world can open up to you.
Definitely.
Well, Michael, this has been great so far. If you would like to leave us with anything, definitely tell us the website where people can go to stay connected, and give us your closing thoughts here.
Sure. I mean, maybe it's worth mentioning again that our beta is out, and that everybody can request it directly on the website, and also that the public sale is just right around the corner. So please, everybody, stay tuned for that. You can follow us on our social media channels, where we will give the latest updates about it and much more, of course. And yeah, I think I said it all. Thank you for your time, Ethan, and for letting me be here.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me, and to the audience, thank you for tuning into this episode of the Blockchain Show, and thank you to Michael for being our guest this week. I wanted to let you guys know about an upcoming episode with Daniele from Utopia Genesis Foundation. And I know we've talked a little bit about micropayments before, and this is kind of along those lines. Basically, what they're doing is solving one of the most important issues in the music industry, that's trust and data. For this reason, they've created Utopia Open Platform, where music rights holders are able to monitor where their music is being played in real time and know what to expect in terms of payout. So be sure to tune in if you would like to learn more about Utopia Genesis Foundation and potentially the future of music and blockchain.